Lord be with you. Okay. That used to work with the Episcopalians. The Lord be with you. Is that working? All right. Hi, guys. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to wait for everybody to be quiet. I'll be like a teacher. Thank you guys for coming. We're really blessed today to have Carolina from Honduras come and talk to us. She's been one of our translators at our medical mission trips since 2017. And she's just a delightful woman, and we're excited to have her. But before she talks, I want to go ahead and show you all the video that we made after the summer's mission trip.
¿Mande?
2 horas caminando.
2 horas caminando. ¿Y cómo era la experiencia aquí?
Pues estaba muy bueno.
¿Los doctores?
Eran muy excelentes.
Excelentes. ¿Y contestaron todas sus preguntas?
Muy excelentes y reciben con amor las personas.
Reciben como amor las personas. Muchas gracias, le agradezco mucho. Y que siguen mejor.
Sí, muchas gracias porque nos hacen un bien en venir aquí a servirnos.
Honduras, a beautiful Central American country of 10 million people. They're our neighbors. A mere 3-hour flight from the US lies a country in the Western Hemisphere where over half the population live in poverty. Honduras Good Works has been serving in the area of El Paraíso for over 20 years. Our mission is to improve the health of rural Hondurans, to assist underserved youth in getting an education, and to nurture the spirit of the people we serve and the volunteers who join us in this effort. The founders of Honduras Good Works first went to Honduras in 1998 and fell in love with the country and the warm and friendly people. They saw that through service, they could be the hands and feet of Christ. Now, Honduras Good Works, in collaboration with the Episcopal Diocese of Honduras, takes volunteers yearly to provide primary medical and dental care to villagers living in the region of El Paraíso. 1,500 to 2,000 villagers are typically seen during our week-long medical brigades, where they receive hygiene supplies and medicines, reading glasses, and wound care if needed. Dentists pull teeth, apply fluoride treatments, teach kids proper dental hygiene, and provide toothbrushes and toothpaste. Honduran doctors and dentists are part of the team, and local college students serve as translators. All are enthusiastic to serve their neighbors. In addition to medical services, Honduras Good Works helps provide clean drinking water to the families of El Paraíso. Honduran trainers travel to the villages and conduct a 3-hour class in personal and home hygiene. Class participants receive an in-home water filter system and lessons on how to care for the filter. With proper care, these filters can provide clean drinking water for 10 years. The gratitude for the improved health that this simple filter provides is overwhelming.
Mire, le doy las gracias a mi padre.
Very grateful to God.
Porque antes, todos enfermos.
Because before the water filter, everybody was sick.
Y hoy, que el Señor y ustedes me giraron este filtro, estamos sanas.
In 2003, Honduras Good Works began a scholarship program for the youth of El Paraíso. Beyond the 6th grade, expenses for school are beyond the financial grasp of most families. Some have to choose between putting food on the table or providing their kids with an education. Now, the 225 plus kids in our scholarship program dream of having a career.
Bueno, lo que la profesión que a mí me gustaría hacer es tener un puesto en la Academia Militar Francisco Morazán. Si Dios me lo permite, voy a llegar hasta eso. Son 4 años que tengo que estar estudiando para poder salir adelante en la Academia Militar.
Mi futuro yo quería ser médico. Sí.
futuro a mí me gustaría ser el gerente de algún banco famoso o algún asistente bancario.
So, where do you come in? With your help, we can continue to serve our Honduran neighbors with clean water, accessible healthcare, and education. Together, we can build a brighter future for the youth of El Pariso. Help us help Honduras.
Okay, Carolina?
Hi everyone, my name is Carolina Blancano. I'm 26 years old, born and raised in Honduras capital city, Tegucigalpa. I've lived there my whole life with my mother, my two brothers, and my tita, who was my grandmother. I studied in Elville School, which is a private bilingual school, from kinder up to my senior year. And currently I'm finishing my dietitian degree, doing my internship on a public psychiatric hospital called Dr. Mario Mendoza. Thanks to God and to my mother, I was able to have a great education that has opened wonderful doors for me. And having the example of my mother as a doctor on the public health system, I've always been in touch with the reality of my country. But working with Honduras Good Works was like bursting a bubble that I was living in. But first, let me talk to you about my beautiful country, Honduras. My country size is very similar to Tennessee. We sit in the middle of Central America, so we have exit to the Pacific and to the Atlantic Ocean. We have around 10 million people, and we have a lot of mountains, so our land is very rugged. Our Caribbean coast is part of the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef System, which is the second largest coral reef in the whole world. And we have a lot of beautiful, colorful spots and places that I'm pretty sure you would all love to meet. It's a precious, precious country, but we have a lot of challenges. Okay, so our currency is lempiras, but I will be talking in dollars so that you have an idea. In 2021, we reached our highest national per capita income, and it was around $2,800 in comparison to USA, which was around $69,300. Now, this is an annual figure. If we made it a daily figure, we would be talking about $7.76. And in most cases, this is an income for a whole family. I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous. Okay, so Christianity is a predominant religion, and our culture is very rich, made of different ethnic groups like Lencas, Chortís, Garífunas, Misquitos, and Mestizos. Our public health system is fragile, and access to healthcare is really, really limited. So I'll tell you the first of many, many stories that have impacted me through the years that I've contributed with Honduras Good Works. I remember this very humble elderly gentleman who told us that something really odd had happened to him. He had peed on a tree, and when he came back, he saw that the spot where he had peed was full of ants. And he also told us that he was seeing some shadows through the corner of his eyes. So we made him a glucose test, and I remember the results came back for more than 400. He didn't know what this meant. So we explained to him and his daughter that he had diabetes, and we were able to give him a 1-year treatment of metformin. Now, this made me think that back at home, my tita had diabetes as well, and it was really easy for us to take care of her with her special food, with her medications, with her medical appointments. And just seeing this man who wasn't even diagnosed, putting in risk his life quality and life, was like having a bucket of cold water being splashed on me. Sometimes we take for granted some basic things that we have in our life, going to the kitchen to have a glass of clean water, or just taking a pill if we have a headache. And in this case, I was taking for granted taking care of my tita. And just seeing the reality of the people in these communities made me realize that a lot of these basic things that we have in our daily life is such a privilege for people out there in the communities. Honduras Good Works doesn't only help people on the rural areas, but they help young privileged people like me to open our eyes and just feel the need to help our country. Okay, so let me tell you how Honduras Good Works came into my life. I was walking through my college halls a little bit disappointed because once again, the classes have been canceled because of the strikes. When suddenly I saw this white paper on the wall asking if I knew English and if I had time availability. And then a brief comment about if I was willing to work as a translator. And I've always loved this kind of activities, so I texted the number there and I made an appointment with a lady and she was going to do some testing. And actually this girl is called Diana Rosales and she came here a few years ago to represent Honduras just as I'm doing today. And I know that this beautiful, beautiful coincidence was nothing else than God. It was God who made Diana put that paper on that exact spot. It was God who made me walk through that hall, and it was God who brought me here today. Now, since the first year that I worked with Honduras Good Works, that was in 2017, I really loved it. I loved how organized they were. I loved the programs that they were involved in, how people showed their love and appreciation, telling us that they had been waiting for us all year long and just receiving us with such grateful hearts. But what I think that I really loved the most was the opportunity that they gave me to help my own people. I've always been blessed by God, so I just want to help and give others as much as I can. And I started volunteering when I was 10 years old with medical brigades. But working with Honduras Good Works was the first time that I had the opportunity to work with such a sustainable project that I could plan to attend year by year. And as I told some of you, I'm finishing my dietitian degree and I'm working on a public psychiatric hospital. So there is a lot of malnutrition in my country. And working on this public hospital, I'm able to see that firsthand. Of course, I'm working as a dietitian and I want my patients to get better and just get the special diet they need, right? But sometimes it's very, very difficult because we only have rice and beans. And thank God that we have rice and beans because they're able to eat. But it's been really, really difficult. Now, in 2018, we started an in-home water filter program. And by far, Honduras Good Works has been able to provide 810 water filters per family. And each family consists usually of 5 or more members. So we're talking about more than 4,000 people have been helped so far. This program does not only consist on giving them the water filter, but showing them how to use it, how to take care of it, letting them know how easily you can get sick because of dirty water, teaching them about personal and home hygiene. And as an interpreter for medical doctors, all of this exchange of ideas and all of this knowledge that I'm getting is making me the best person, the best woman, and the best healthcare worker I can be. And this is even better because I'm able to help my Honduran fellows the best way that I can. Now, even with all the good things that Honduras Good Works has done with the medical assistance, with the vitamins, the water filter program, I think that the most important one would be the scholarship program, because it's the one that has the longest term impact on my country, and it's probably the one that will be changing my country the most. Okay, so this program, we're able to help kids with the expenses of their transportation, their school supplies, their uniforms, because most of them are only able to assist and complete their 6th grade education. And this is not because they don't want to continue, but it's because they're not able to. So, you know, it's very hard getting a good job with a university degree. Can you imagine with a 6th grade education? And in my experience, you know, when I've been there on the communities with Honduras Good Works and with my dietitian degree, I've asked people, why aren't you sending your kids to school? And I almost get always the same answer, like, we're just trying to get food on the table. And yet, when we've been to the communities and asked the kids that are in the scholarship program, what would happen if your family didn't have the opportunity, you know, to have you on this scholarship programs? They usually tell me that their family would still try to send them to school, even if that made their whole family hungry. So can you imagine making this kind of decision? There are some guidelines that the kids need to follow in order to be in the scholarship program. Not getting involved with drugs and alcohol, not getting involved with gangs, or not getting pregnant at early ages. So, and they're doing community service as well. So they're just not receiving, they're giving as well. And a lot of them are learning how to be accountable for their actions. So they're having education at school and a life education. And that's making them be the best person they can be for themselves, for their family, and for their country. Now, Honduras isn't just about violence and drugs and poverty. We are a country full of people that are humble, they're very hardworking, and we just need a hand to help us and make our country rise. So I'm very, very thankful for all of the hard work that Honduras Good Works has done in my country, and especially Dr. Brenda. I want to thank you because, like I told her, it's really touching, you know, how you just get out of your way to help my country. I mean, you don't need to do that, but you do it with the best you can. And thank you so much, you know, because your country has done a lot of things for my country. And I'll always be very, very, very thankful. Thank you.
You were talking about it's the 6th graders to 12th grade in the scholarship program. What if there's a young person that wants to go on to be the doctor, to be the attorney, to be the bank executive? Is there a scholarship program that helps that, you know, university level those 3 years too? Because that's another group that I would think it would be frustrating if they got through 12th grade and then there was no funds available to go on.
So some of these questions, I don't expect Carolina to know the answer to as a translator, but we do have about half a dozen kids on scholarship in university as well. So a lot of these kids will either, after high school, they actually qualify to be a teacher after if they've done 12 years. So they can get a job there, they can get a regular kind of job, a meaningful job is what I've heard them describe, a job with dignity. But some will go on to a trade school, or a few will go on to a university. And we've had lawyer, we've certainly had a couple of nurses, we've had engineers. So we have had kids graduate from university through, we don't pay their whole way, but we give them a stipend to kind of help them get through their university too.
Do those programs walk side by side?
They channel one to the other, yeah. So if a kid
In other words,
goes,
it's not like you get a BA going to law school and then you do those together.
well, from high school is, separate, and then their university is after that, or trade school is after that.
Okay, so you can't do like medical school and law school at the same time you're doing college?
Medical school is a 8-year program there. So after 12 years of regular high school, then they start medical school. They don't go to college first. They start medical school after that, and it's an 8-year program. And unlike here, where you try really, really hard to get into medical school, they try and flunk you out every year. And so that is a dropout program. And so by the time you've made it, past those first 4 years, that would be our university, then you've got the kids that are probably going to keep on and really, finish their degree and get their MD.
Seminaries are the same.
Well, it's brutal. Yeah.
And something else that's really awesome, that this program was started in 2003. So a lot of the kids that started on the program are now parents, and they value education, and they want their kids to be in the scholarship program as well, and they want them to have more than they had.
That's generations.
Yeah.
So just changing that culture. I mean, before they started the scholarship program, the founders said, they'd go into these communities and girls are having babies when they're 13 and 14. It's like, what else is there to do? And boys are working in the field, or they're going into the town and joining a gang or whatever. And so when they started the scholarship program, they said, you can't get pregnant, and then all the other things she said. And the teenage pregnancy rate went like from, 80% to 3%. I mean, it was just a dramatic drop, because they could see the future, see something different, and knew that if they wanted that scholarship, they just couldn't behave that way. And then we did have one girl get pregnant, and they sat down and talked to Reverend Dagberta down there and the village leaders and stuff. It's like, well, you know what? Now we're really consigning her to a life of poverty if we say she can't stay in the scholarship program because this happened. And there's 2 that are involved. So anyway, they kind of have made that rule a little softer. It's not like you're out if you get pregnant, but it's still, really like, this is not what we were doing here. Each village has their own village leader that kind of mentors the 10 or 12 kids in that village that are on a scholarship program. And they meet every week, and they have community projects. And so they're really kind of fed over and over again about the proper behavior. Other questions?
How many villages do y'all encompass?
The region that we serve, we've been to up to 50 villages over the 23 years we've been doing it. But on a medical mission trip, we will see 15 to 20 villages, and out of probably about a core of about 30 villages that we see one year or the next. So some of those that we say 50, we haven't seen in 10 or 15 years. But the pastor that we work with down there tells us, these are the villages they're serving this year, these are the villages serving this year, and there's always an overlap with some of the major villages. And then there's some that might have never seen us before, but they're within his. So we're working through the diocese of, Episcopal Diocese of Honduras. So we're not under them, but we're sort of working with them, and they allow us to come in and sort of, so they have a pretty broad region that he's in charge of.
So through the years, you really cover a very large portion.
It's one community, it's one central town called Yuscron, and the villages that are surrounded, which can be like an hour-and-a-half drive when you sail roads like that, to get up to the villages.
So when you go on a trip and the trip is scheduled out, there's a date, a start date and end date, and then this whole group gets together and we put all these supplies and you go on the trip. Is that it, or are there other groups ongoing, going before that and after that, like on a calendar? Are there other groups coming besides you?
There are other groups that go to Honduras and go all over Honduras. Occasionally,
Good Works?
no.
Or is that, then yours is just that, whatever that week?
We have that one week, and this year we partnered with a new charity, brand new charity called H&I Charities. And their mission is to send doctors on mission trips. And they're a group, it's a hospital group, and they're nationwide. And they sent 6 doctors and 2 translators and their CEO and grandson. I mean, they were a big part of our group this year. And they're like, we got to at least be going twice a year. It's like, well, that's people, that's money, that. So, but that is still the goal. And as we continue to partner with them, we'll go next summer. We're already scheduled August 3rd to the 10th. And then hopefully the following February, March, if we can kind of figure out how to get us doing 2 trips a year with enough money and help. And not as just people going down there. I mean, we would need a lot of help at this end to just organize. It takes about 6 months to plan a trip. So that means that we're planning a trip all the time for going twice a year. But there are other nonprofits that go in and serve, and it's just, there's not good connections. We don't really know who they are or when they're coming. We just, we try and give maybe usually 6 months of medicine on these chronic cases with the hopes that another group will come in within the next 6 months and provide.
What would it cost to scholarship for somebody to go on the trip? Say there was somebody who really wanted to go, it would be great, it just doesn't.
This coming year, it'll probably be $2,700 for a trip because airfare has gone. This past year, we got really cheap tickets and airfare's gone back up, so it'll probably be about $2,700.
I know the trips I went on to Mississippi, every time we went, there were 2 or 3 other groups on the same flight.
Yeah, and going to different parts of the country. Yeah, it's like, where are you going? And they, they're going to do an orphanage in Tagoose, and they're going to do, Sunday school. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big deal. Well, we normally go in July, and I was like looking to see what week in July would be good. Airfare was $2,000 a person. I said, well, we're not going in July because every other mission trip goes in July, and so guess what? United can jack up their price to twice what it normally is. So we're going in August. February's nice.
So with the water filters and the scholarships, how much does it cost to support? For one water filter, one scholarship?
For an individual, we're providing $275 for one kid for 1 year, and scholarships $100. I mean, water filters $100 for one water filter.
And that lasts up to 10 years, you say, for $100?
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, they really need to be taught. You're gonna filter this water and do all this work, and then you're gonna take that clean water and backwash your filter. You're gonna, because you have to backwash it regularly. And if you're in a really silty part of the place, then you're gonna have to backwash more than if it's not so silty. And when we did home visits last November, it's like, so how often do you backwash? Well, every day, well, once a week. And how do you do that? Oh yeah, we use this water. I mean, they know how to take care of that filter. And that one lady that was saying, gracias a Dios a ustedes, we say it serves a family of 5. Well, that little porch where we're standing is their outdoor kitchen. Most of them cook outdoors. And there was like 5 other dwellings around that patio, and 50 people are using that water filter, And she's like, we're all healthy. We were all sick before, and now thanks to God and you, we're all healthy. It's just like, yeah, that's worthwhile work. So.
I know we've talked in the past that it's not just the money you need for support, you need time here. Can you share with us what kind of help you need here to plan these events and things like that?
Well, just organizing the packing parties for sure. Just ordering what we need, figuring out what we need to, and then putting a wish list on Facebook, and just, it's logistics, a lot of logistics.
Board members.
Yes, absolutely need board members, and I would love to have, so you might remember 2 years ago, we had Roxana, and she was fabulous she wasn't an executive director, but we were working her like one. Well, she got hired away by another nonprofit that could pay twice what we could pay. So we're back to all volunteer again. I would love to have somebody take the data from this file and put it in this file, because I don't know how to do that, and I'm doing it line by line, copy and paste and copy and paste. It's like, so I need that kind of help. We need computer help. Tell me your talent and I'll tell you where we can fit in.
We really need board members to help us connect in Central Texas, to leverage our contacts. We're starting to develop that. I'm on the board. I would love to talk to you about joining the board.
So tonight is our fundraiser at Topgolf. Tickets are already done, sold for that, but the online auction is available, the raffle's available. There's a QR code on that little card that was up there that you can access the auction and the raffle, and you can always just donate, of course. And yeah, we'll be planning packing parties in early spring. Oh, the other thing you can definitely do is start collecting your toiletries again. We gave away every last stick of soap and toothpaste and everything last year, so we're starting from scratch. And if we're going to see 2,000 people, we need lots of that stuff.
Would you be so kind and get a little closer to the microphone?
Oh, sorry. I was just asking for,
It might just be.
yeah. So there's a bin back there that says Honduras Good Works, and that's where we are bringing our toiletries. So just the little travel size toiletries that you get when you travel and you don't use, pick them up anyway. You pay for them with your hotel room and bring them to us.
We had a dollar store that started working with us, and we could get by the case for half the regular price, and they found out what we were doing it for.
Yeah.
So that was great. So if you ever have a local, dollar
Yeah.
store that wants to work with you and help you, that was great.
I did order our hydrocortisone from our dollar store one year because it was cheaper than the bulk place that I was ordering all our other medicines from.
About how many volunteers go down there with you?
This year we had 35 to 45 from the United States, and usually 20 to 30 from Honduras. So it's a very much merged team now because we've got all these wonderful translators that we kind of see how many translators we need after we get our head count here, and then we hit up our contacts in Honduras and say we need 15 translators or 18 translators or whatever. And then we always have at least one Honduran doctor at each village, one Honduran dentist. We've been relying primarily on the Honduran dentist because we just haven't had dentists from here go. This year we did have one dentist go, and she worked with one of the Honduran dentists because she'd never done field work before. She goes, yeah, as long as I've got a suction machine and some tools, I'll be good. I was like, no, you need to bring your own tools and your own headlamp and a flashlight because there's no electricity. You're not going to have a suction machine, And so, yeah, she came and she did great. And so, but yeah, so we have a dentist at each clinic, whether Honduran or American.
So none of these villages have electricity?
They have some, but usually it's not on where we are. Occasionally it'll be on, but you can't rely on it. You can't expect it.
You might describe, back to what we can do here at St. Luke's on the Lake, you might describe a packing party, you said, for those that have been a part of it.
Well, I think everybody here should have been at a packing party by now. But yeah, so I mean, I order medicines by the hundreds of thousands of Tylenol and vitamins and things like that, and they come in bulk, and then we need to put them into little baggies and label them with their expiration date and all that stuff and their how to use them. And so it takes many, many hands to pack up all that medicine. And so we'll have packing parties at various places around town over the several months before the mission trip to get them all packed and labeled. So yes, definitely that. And then the hygiene supplies that y'all contribute, we make hygiene packs that we give to each person that we see, or if they're we're really trying not to take big, heavy, bulky things because we carry everything with us and we can only carry so much weight. So just the travel size items work better than like a full-size toothpaste and that sort of. Yeah.
Question for our guest. What are some of the big issues facing Honduras today?
Well, I think the biggest issue would be education, because it's like a cycle, right now, always, our big problem would be the government, and they don't want to get the people educated for obvious reasons. So, yeah, I think that would be, and then the health system, and then security, and then it's just a cycle. Everything's a cycle, If you don't have education, then you don't know the importance of having a good candidate, and these people don't work on the health system, they don't work on the security system, so yeah.
That is such a good point you've made. There's unfortunately corruption is a way of life, and what that means is public money that would be going into the health system can get siphoned off into people's pockets. And I think education is so critical, because when you have an educated population, they become much more aware, they become much more questioning, they become much more active, and it really makes a huge difference to start turning things around.
And no one can take that from you.
Yeah, no one can take that from you. And it really, it's you can start to pull yourself up, and see what the possibilities are. and work together to make things better. But I just, in a previous job that I had, I was really shocked to see sort of the level of, you sort of wonder, like, why are these countries so poor all the time? Well, I know why they're so poor all the time.
Yeah.
There is money, but the money is not going where it should. And so I think education is really critical. It can't be taken from you, and it really can be used to help make a long-lasting change in the country.
Yes, I was just telling Dr. Brenda the other day that educated people will not vote for the handsome candidate. And that happens a lot. They're like, oh, he's good looking, I'll vote for him. Because these candidates, and I'm not exaggerating, they don't even have a proposal. I've never seen a candidate go on stage and say, okay, so I wanna propose, I'll do this and this and this. They don't. They just go to the communities on the near months that the elections will be, and they just give people some food, they take the pictures, and that's all. And I also was telling her that even if it's only 5 kids that are being educated, one of them could be the next president, you know? And it's people who love their country. They really do. So they'll just try to make it better.
You're talking about a friend of yours that wants to be the president.
Oh, yes. I was telling her about this young, very educated friend that I have. His name is Rafael Jerez, and he wants to be the president. He's a lawyer now, and he's preparing himself to be a president. So, well, I just want to ask you to pray for him, you know, because sometimes it's very dangerous to be the person who wants to do a real good change in a corrupt system like my country has. So I just pray to God that he will be able to get in the system and be the president, because he loves his country and he's preparing himself to be the president. And that's not something that we have every day. So.
I don't know if you all talk to St. John's here in Austin, but they have Spanish service in almost over half the people off in Honduras.
Oh, really?
And they keep helping get other families and things, folks up, but that would be a good connect. Why Honduras?
Yeah, but are there many people like your friend or a movement to, for the educated people to try to bring a free market economy there so that the people can be more prosperous, or is there much of a movement for that?
Yeah, well, he's still very young, so he still hasn't done like major political things, like to be known and stuff like that for his political ideas. But a lot of my friends were like, we will vote for you, like we will do it. And I tell my family about him, and a lot of my friends tell their family about him, and that's how you get to know them, you know, like you don't know him, but he's a very good person and he can do some change in their country. Because it's amazing how, of all the presidents we've had, they just want to steal the money. You should have seen the last president we had, like, he's in jail now. I'll just put it there.
In the United States?
Yeah, in New York.
Yeah. For drugs.
Out there like they do in Mexico?
Yeah, he was a drug lord. This president, he was a drug lord. And you know, the elections just happened. We actually have the first female president in Central America, something that I should be very proud of, but it's very difficult. And one of the candidates, he just got out of jail. He was here in the United States, and he was a candidate. You know, he was running to be a president. So anything can happen in Honduras.
So it's highly dangerous then for people who want to make change, to do things the right way. Like, because in Mexico, people who want to make change usually end up dead.
Yeah.
So what's the internet down there, availability for people to learn things, or
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The internet, do they have, I mean, is it pretty, like the schools? Do they utilize the computers and teach, let people learn about the world?
Yes, but you know, even sometimes education can be very basic. And well, the scholarship program actually helped the people during COVID times to have internet. You know, the kids were able to get their internet and continue learning. But yes, it's mostly like, I don't want to say privileged people, but people in the city or people who have more money that were able to see what's going on out here. And yeah, but we do have internet access, and well, they all have cell phones, you know, and they all buy like a internet package, but yeah.
We were told with the scholarship program, they would buy their minutes by the week. They would look and see, so not every family has a phone or an iPad or a laptop or whatever, but usually, you know, somebody in the extended family would have one, or definitely somebody in the community leader would have one. And the kids would use that to connect with their teachers during COVID. And so they would buy minutes looking at what their needs were that week, and then they'd buy minutes for that week to get their cellular. It was all cellular, there's no landline stuff, and that's how they would connect. And they would be very frustrated because they'd spent the money to buy their internet, and then they still didn't have good connection. And one kid told us about having to go to the top of the mountainside, and it was a night class, but for him to get connection, he's up there with his cell phone and a flashlight on his face so the teacher can see that he's present in the class. And, you know, that, to me, that's motivation in education.
Is the violence problem starting to abate a little bit compared to where it was before? And how is, I know San Pedro Sula was the highest homicide rate for a while. Well, outside of like an active war zone. But are things starting to improve with that? And how are things in the area that you guys reach out to?
Well, usually on the rural areas, it's a little bit better than on the city. But right now, you know, if people get kicked out of their houses by gang members, which it's happening, they don't have anywhere to go, you know, and then I can't blame them, you know. They don't have education, they don't have a job, so they just try to get some easy money to help their families. And that's when they get involved in gangs and dark stuff. But yeah, I don't know, I think it's the same. I think it would be the same.
I had a roommate in college who was from there. His family was well off, so he was like, you know, a little insulated from some of that was going on there, but he told me about like at the city where he was from, and it was.
Yeah, sometimes it's very easy to live in a bubble, you know, like I was telling you, I've never considered myself like a wealthy person but I studied in a private school. They usually teach us United States history. And, you know, well, my mom, she would be like, no, you cannot go out there, because she's worried about me, of course, right? But I think that every kid in a wealthy position should do mission trips. You know, it just opens our eyes. Like every week after the week that we've been serving, I'll be like, Mom, we did this and we helped them and it's very nice. It's very nice. It's a life-changing experience every week that we go there.
And I don't think it's naive. We really do feel safe in the country. We do only drive in daylight hours. We do stay in a Catholic retreat center with big concrete walls and razor wire and a guard at the gate and guard dogs at night that you get in your dormitories, and then the guard dogs are let out. So they're taking good care of us. And when we go to villages, they know we're there to serve. And so we really, we don't go walking by ourselves, but we'll walk with 2 or 3 people at lunchtime. And there's one village I was at that we were heading up this road, and they go, no, you don't go up there. It's like, okay, you know, no explanation, but okay, you know, so I think where we are, once we get out of the cities, we feel comfortable. But traveling from the airport, we put all the luggage into the school bus, we don't put it in the back of the trucks. So if you're stopped at a stop sign or stoplight or whatever, they can't just reach in and take stuff out of the back of the truck. So, I mean, there's a lot of precautions that we take. When we go out on the brigades, we always take a team of trucks that are labeled, so we'll have the pink team, and there'll be pink tape on the backs and fronts of all the trucks, and you're in a caravan, and if you can't see the pink truck behind you or in front of you, you pull over until you catch up again. So we do a lot of stuff to protect ourselves, but outside of the cities, we feel pretty safe. We want to get out of the cities as quick as we can, and we don't miss any time in that.
We had federales that we picked up at one of us. And they stayed the whole week.
Well, I think that there's some worry that they're not any better than anybody else.
These guys are all pretty good. They slept in the church, the little Episcopal church.
And it's funny, because my mom had her clinic, and she would be like, today I saw a gang member. And, they're like, she's a good doctor, we need to take care of her. And a lot of these people, we've never seen them, but they're here to do good, don't bother them, don't touch them, so. Yeah.
Does the Episcopal diocese promote the youth coming up in the church to do the mission work too?
Those that are in the scholarship, which are usually in the church, they're not required to be in the church to be on the scholarship, but a lot of them are. And those kids do come and register patients and things like that. They do what they can to help with the mission work. But, they live there in the community. It's, that's where they live. So that's a different setting than asking translators. There is one group that we get translators from, which is called a leadership school. And they are young women that have been taken from villages like we serve. And it's a live-in program where they learn English, learn to be a teacher, learn skills, that sort of thing. So they're being taught, and it's a whole women's school. And we'll get translators from them too. So they are folks that have grown up in the villages or are coming back to serve, but other people just live there. Well, I left a couple cards on each table. Our website's there. Obviously, you can donate, but then I left one card for the auction and the raffle. There's a QR code. You can just take a picture of it with your phone and get access to that if you want to see what all the goodies we have on auction. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Text somebody back here, let them know that you got back. Thank you for
We'll ask Nancy to
At your age, I would have got a hard enough doing it in the only language I know, which is English. And your English is so to get allowed to enter from the U.S. government, what you're saying, or allowed, it's not allowed out of my church, it's allowed into the U.S., right? No, absolutely. With kids, my wife especially is involved. Children, just like very similar to disappear in the U.S. And I assume you can do it tonight. And more, we're coming tonight, so we're going to see it. That's my show. And speak about it. I understand. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. It's amazing. You're wonderful speaker. Do you need spreadsheet help?
What we have is 3 different things. On my constant contact list, which is what we send the bulk email out for, newsletters and things like that. When we have administrator, they did this. So I'm sending it to you. So I just do it to our contacts. That's it. Then we have Better Unite, which is our donation site. And so that's got contacts. And then we have our donation log to turn in, so that the treasurer of the year can do all the. And then we have, on one page, and the next page is our thank you note, and that has phone numbers and addresses, and we just send a thank you note when we can. And none of them go together. So when they donate on Better Unite, then I have to copy and paste their cell number into this, and copy and paste their name into this, and I'm doing it kind of half-assed, because it's something I can.
Oh yeah, that stuff can make you crazy.
And Roxana looked at it, and the gal before me looked at it, and said, there's just no way just to make it hurt, we really need what we've got, and we haven't turned over better systems. If you know better systems, yes, but if you don't, then that manual labor.
Well, so my son Gavin is like a spreadsheet wins, and he'll be home at Christmas time, so I can have him give you a call in my.
What time at Christmas?
I think he's gonna be home on the 12th.
Okay, so, because we're leaving on the 27th, but yeah, that'd be great for, I could sit down with Bob, who's our IT guy, and just, brainstorm if he, has any ideas about how to make it easier. But if not,
I'll see if he and John, my husband, can also, you guys can all talk, so anyway, make it easier. It's just,
we might end up hiring somebody else to do that, but we get volunteer to do it, so
that's my kid who I mentioned I did all that PTA work. It was like, he's kind of done with volunteering. And now that he's near 19, it's like he's got a different heart and feels differently.
That's wonderful. That's young to be having that different heart, so that's good.
The girls are great about volunteering with all my PTA stuff. It's like, that's like changed the last 6 months or so. I'll talk with him at Thanksgiving. See what time he has. All right, nice meeting you.
Thank you. I was very inspired. Yeah. People be there. It's not easy to do. Never done. You can work a lot of